Hello, friends. Thank you for taking the time to come to the website and hear more about how God is moving the Clementis and the Matthews onward east. My name is Tony Clementi, and this is my wife Stephanie Clementi, and we'd like to put a video to this. Under this video on the website, there's a longer, more detailed story, but we figured that some of you would just prefer a video, so we also wanted to give you a video format that's a little bit more condensed. But with that, I'll let Stephanie start telling the story.
Yeah, so Tony and I have been married for 15 years. We live in Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, and we have 5 kids. So we have, after we started having our children, we really went hard at creating our dream of what him and I wanted to make our home look like, how we wanted to provide for our family, and I would say it was just making our American dream a reality. And in the meantime, through raising our kids, we were able to go on many different trips to visit missionaries who were doing works in churches across the world, and so we would go and we would serve alongside them and just get to see what it looks like in the day-to-day life while they're serving and planting churches, and we just saw how they would love the community and love God in a different way than what we would often do back home. Now we did serve in our local church, and we did outreach in the community, and we desperately desired to raise our kids to love the Lord with their whole heart and love others, and so we did have that passion for our children as we raised them, but when we would come back from mission trips, it would quite often cause us to just question what we were pursuing and where our motives were. And so quite often it would put us in a place where we would spend time in prayer and pondering what God maybe was asking us to do and how it might look different and how it should look different for us and for our family. So
Yes, I mean, I would say probably about 10 years into our marriage, we kind of started, if you will, just realizing that in a way we had been just maybe slightly inoculated to the gospel. Christianity was a little bit more, how would I say, compartmentalized than the early church would have experienced, or some of our friends who were serving God in a full-time capacity, and it always just got us thinking. And we loved Jesus, and He had redeemed us, and we were serving Him, but we just wanted to. We feel like God was getting to the root of our heart and what was driving us in this world. So Stephanie and I, we just started praying. We just started saying, God. We knew that it was interesting. We knew that God was moving us, but we didn't quite know what it was going to look like. So we just joined with each other and in humility before God, just like, God, we want to have a life that is fully committed to the gospel and is an example to this world of a true picture of Jesus Christ. And so we just started praying, God, what would that look like in our life? And so we just started praying, and God told me and Stephanie through many different experiences and really just developed this vision that we both have this desire our whole life to do business. We've done business basically since our early 20s. We own and operate a couple businesses. We have investments. So God has just gifted us, and we've always believed that God gives you, us, everybody around us these gifts, not so much to invest in our own kingdoms, but to use those gifts to further His kingdom. So we wanted to make this more of a reality, obviously. So we are big coffee drinkers. When you have 5 kids, 2 businesses, a ton of stuff going on, you have to drink a lot of coffee. So we always enjoyed going to coffee houses. So through it, just walking with the Lord, talking with Him, we felt the vision that God would call us to possibly one day start a coffee house in a city where that coffee house could be used as a church on Sundays. During the week, the church could gather there, have studies, small groups, and also Monday through Saturday, just be a successful business that's a light in the community. So the funds that the business would raise would support the pastor. It would support just the actual church itself, and then outreach into the community, funding, helping nonprofits, obviously with gospel proclamation and outreach into the community that it was established in. So this was something that we were sure that God would have us do this one day. We just didn't know what the timing looked like. So we just continued to pray and talk about it a lot. And one of my friends that's a missionary that I had shared this vision with in Spain communicated to us that there was a business, a coffee house business in Spain that was going to be, the owners were going to be moving, and they wanted to sell that business. And so we were like, okay. So we were praying about this. This came up, and so we got together with these business owners, and we started talking. And the talks got very serious, to the point where there was high plausibility that we could purchase this coffee house, move our family to Spain, and do what we believe that God was calling us to do. So me and Steph looked at each other, and I remember several conversations. It wasn't just one, but can we do this? Should we do this? After a little bit, maybe 6 years, no, maybe like a couple weeks of really focusing on this particular mission, we just said yes. Steph said yes. I said yes. We're going to follow Jesus in this way. So we were ready to do it. Oddly enough, over the next 3 to 4 weeks, the deal fizzled out. We got some details, some information. We just couldn't work out the negotiations just wouldn't work out. So we backed out. And it was another time where Stephanie and I kind of had to go back and recalibrate and pray. We didn't understand. We thought, God, we've been waiting for you to lead us in a direction. You gave us a vision. You gave us a place to do that vision, but it didn't work. So we were kind of back to the drawing board, back to the wilderness, if you will. And so we just continued to pray. We now know that was the time that God used to prepare us for right now. We said yes. We were willing to go and follow him on this journey. And that's what this whole mission was about. That was what the possible mission to Spain was about, to get us ready, because we were ready. And so we kept praying, kept living in about, it was in 2019 that I had a friend that was a missionary coming back to America, and he knew about kind of the vision and our interest in what we were going to do. And he said that, Tony, I've heard of a place, a church that does exactly what you want to do. And we were like, no way. He was coming into the States, and he said, why don't we go and check it out? So we reached out to the gentleman, and he said to us, yeah, why don't you guys come down, check it out, and I'd be more than happy to show you guys around. So with very, very little expectation, we thought, hey, this can't hurt. Let's see what this is all about. We had about 4 hours scheduled with Kevin Scott, who is the head pastor and the leader of this mission in Boston, Massachusetts. Nonetheless, we ended up spending all of 4 days with them, and we walked away from that so moved by the mission. They had planted 3 churches. They had 3 successful coffee houses, funding their gospel outreach into the city of Boston. They had given over $500,000 to nonprofit organizations in Boston. They were doing exactly what we wanted to do, and doing it beautifully. And so we had kindred spirits. I mean, we went there and we had an instant connection with the Scots. They have a very similar story to us. We just connected, and they had shared with us that they wanted to do more, but they needed more help. So I was rocked. I was wrestling like, is this it, Lord? This has to be it. And so I came back to Wisconsin, and Steph saw like I was just fired up like crazy. I said, babe, you gotta go. And so off she went to Boston. She can tell more about that.
So like you said, Jordan and Tony had gone to Boston, and then Abigail and I went a couple weeks later. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks later, and we met with the team there. Kevin and Christy, we stayed at their house, and now the way we went, we had gone different than the way that Tony and Jordan had gone. It was with more of a intentionality, and in a way with more expectation put on to Abigail and I. So, and I believe part of that ended up bringing up some fear inside me about how this could be actually made into a reality. God may be calling us to Boston with these people, with the church plant, and I began to question whether or not I was equipped and capable. And that Sunday, Pastor Kevin had a message, and he was talking through the book of Exodus, and it was about how God had asked Moses to lead the people of Israel out of slavery, out of Egypt, and Moses' reply to God was that he didn't want to. He was fearful, and he was not capable, and he was not equipped. But God just took him through his promises on he'll provide, and he will equip, and the overarching response was that God said, don't forget who is doing the moving. It's God, right? And so in my life, I had to remember that God will equip me, God will provide, and the focus was never meant to be on myself. The confidence was never meant to be on me. It was be placed on God. So moving to Boston and understanding that Boston is where we were going, I can place my full confidence in God and what he's going to do with our family as we pursue missions in Boston with the team.
Yeah, so the whole time Stephanie was there, I was fervently praying that, God, if this isn't supposed to be, if this is, if we're reading too much into this, if it's too obvious, right? Sometimes we wonder, does God work that obvious? He does, at times. And so I said, if this isn't supposed to happen, please set it in my wife's heart that this isn't gonna work, this isn't gonna happen. But when she came back, and I could feel the conviction in her heart for our family to go to Boston, I was 100% sure that that's what we were supposed to do. When she shared me about how that message had moved her and how she felt like God had spoken right to her, and just the whole process of going there, and it was like this just confirmation that God so kindly gave me. So now that we were both in the neighborhood, we were like, we have to go, we have to do this. Then you've got decisions to make. We have an amazing family, very successful businesses, investments. We are living a wonderful life, very comfortable. Why would we give that up? That should be a very hard decision, right? We wrestled for a long time with it, but when it came time to make the decision, no doubt, we are going. And so that is where we stand today. Firmly standing upon the power of God, his powerful grace and mercy as we trust him into this new journey of our life. We know that we can't do it, but we have a mighty God who is calling us and enabling us to do it through his strength. So there are a lot more details on the website about why Boston. I encourage you to read that. It's extremely, extremely thought-provoking. Some of the things you may not know about the city of Boston that really moved us as we made this decision too. We also have a support tab that goes into how much support we need and how you can help us that way. But yeah, go into the website, check it out. There's 4 tabs there. But like I said, we want to take as many people along with us on this mission. A lot of you reading this or listening to us have invested in us, and we want to bring you with us to Boston. And so this is supporting us in prayer, and finances is a very feasible way to do that. We love you all, and God bless you.